All right, I'm back. This is my second Periscope, and I enjoyed it enough the first time that I thought I would give it another shot. What I want to do is just maybe talk about my own writing process and how I avoid writer's block. And I know that anytime you get any authors together, anyone who's a writer, you know what it's like that after a little while, inevitably you start to talk about writer's block, or you start to talk about how the creative process is very difficult. It's been hard. I can't get into it. I can't get inspired. I mean, there are all sorts of things that can happen. I know for me, there have been many times where I've sat down at my desk or I've been in a coffee shop and I've wanted to write about something, and I get the first 4 or 5 words down on paper and it just goes nowhere. It just seems like it's failing terribly, and then I hit delete and I go back and I write another sentence, hit delete on that, go back, and before you know it, an hour has passed, and I've got 55 words maybe. And I know that many of you have probably dealt with the very same thing. And so, wanted to just talk about my writing process and what has really helped me. And I really believe that the thing that has helped me the most is just being on schedule and working it. If I waited till I was inspired until I wrote, I would write very, very infrequently. But what I find for me is that inspiration often follows perspiration. So it means if I really, really work it, if I work hard and if I am tenacious to work steady and on a schedule, I know that as I just push through, it's amazing. Sometimes I'll just kind of hit a vein of just some good writing, and I'll go for it. And one of the things that I don't do any longer is I don't edit on the fly. I used to always be correcting spelling mistakes or any kind of grammar mistakes, and now what I do is I just write. I write ugly and I just get it on paper. And what I found is when I do that, I don't break up my flow. And it's amazing just how my mind works and some of the things and the ideas that come to mind and then eventually get on paper. Now, I am going to start writing a little bit more with a pen. I love using fountain pens. I collect fountain pens, but I've actually gotten out of penmanship and I've relied probably too much on the computer. And I think that it isn't as good an experience for writing, and so I'm trying to write a little bit more with pen and paper. I find that I'm a little bit more creative with that. But what you can do if you're one who likes to write using the computer is definitely, with whether you're using Word or Scrivener, whatever tools you're using, certainly to block out all other programs. Make sure that you're really in focus view, and schedule a time. Schedule a time, just like any work or workout. I know for me, I like to work out every day at noon, and I don't like to miss those things. And so it's the same thing with writing. If you're a morning person, write first thing in the morning. If you're an evening person, write in the evening. Whenever it is, just put it in your schedule and then do it, whether you're inspired or not. And when you start writing on schedule every day, it's going to be amazing how your mind and how your body really react to that. And before you know it, you are going to have inspirational thoughts. The other day, I was writing a piece for a writers group that I'm in, and I was trying to write something on the fly and to do as fast as I possibly could, and I ended up writing a little snippet in 17 minutes. It was about 400 words, and it was about having writer's block, and it was a fun little ditty. I might post it on my website, michaelvole.com. But really, what I was trying to do is to force myself just to be creative, force myself just to put stuff down on paper. And sometimes when we do that, when we just push through, it's amazing some of the good things that will happen. And so I certainly do that. And for me, as a believer, as a Christian, I always start in prayer. I think if we do that, if we start in prayer, God gives all wisdom, He gives all discernment, And when I began to really bathe my creative process in prayer and say, God, give me wisdom, help me out with this, it's amazing what was happening. And so I'd encourage the same from you, that you would do that. And so write on schedule. Remind yourself that perspiration leads to inspiration. Begin with prayer, and then when it comes to some of your tools, one of the tools that I've really enjoyed using lately is Scrivener. I'm getting better at it, but certainly even in Word, use your focus view. Get rid of all the other alarm bells. Get rid of all the other messages that are going to be popping up, because really when you're stuck, you will go for any distraction. It's amazing when I'm stuck. It's amazing how I want to just even clean the house. And so you have to get into a spot where you're not going to be distracted. And so for me, I come into my basement first thing in the morning, and really there's nothing to see. I sit in a really comfy chair, and I just start to write. There's really nothing on my desk. I'm a clean freak. I like everything just to be really clean, so that I can really concentrate. I go on focus view, and then I just start typing, or I start writing. And so I would encourage the same of you. Maybe some of you have some ideas or some things that you've found that are helpful with writer's block. If some of you want to share that, you can do that. I would love to hear from you. But that's just some of the things that I do, and I'll do another Periscope on some of the more specific tools that I use, and some of the things that I do to avoid writer's block, and to really push through. So if there's any of you that want to do that and just share what you've found is helpful, I'd love to read that and interact with that. If not, have a great evening. And for those of you who go outside in nature for 5 minutes. That's a great thing. Great thing. Just get outside. Another thing that I do is I bought a stand-up desk for my office, and it's been amazing. Just standing up, getting out of that chair. That I think sometimes we just need to get the blood flowing. So even for me, sometimes I'll go for a walk as well, go outside, and that's fantastic. If there's anyone else of some of the ways that you overcome writer's block, I'd love to hear what you do. Because it's amazing the creativity that God has given each one of us, and we need to get it out there. We need to share it. So I just want to encourage any of you who are going to be watching this at any time. Every one of you have a story in you, and you just have to put it out there. And there are creative ideas that you have, and don't talk yourself out of it. Just do it. Don't talk yourself out and say, well, I'm not good enough, or I'm not this, or I'm not that. Just do it, and you'll be amazed at the results. And so I just published my first book, Sideswiped, and it can be found on Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, CreateSpace, and it has been an awesome process. I'm already working on my second book, and I'm just very excited about what is going to happen through that. So thanks so much for tuning in, and have an awesome evening. Right on.